This should be the nail in the coffin for people who want to criticize traditional martial arts. This comment was written on the Cult of Dusty's channel. I was going to do a response video that was purely me. I'm just going to read what Mr. Lucho Gabriel wrote. And then I'm going to jump off on my own thing. Mr. Lucho Gabriel wrote on the video that Dusty did. What is this called? It's Dusty's Kiai Masters versus Reality. Can magic help you win a fight? Let me scroll down, 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 down. Here we go. And this is perfect. This is what I've been trying to tell people for years. Your argument is invalid and you have no right to insult what we choose to practice. He's got a right to because he's got freedom of speech, but, you know, check this out. Any amateur boxer, any amateur wrestler, any amateur kickboxer, any amateur judo or jiu-jitsu practitioner, even the baddest street fighter would get, I'll say, butt kicked by a professional MMA fighter because, and he has this part in caps, all caps, they are professional. They live for fighting. Exactly. We practice Kung Fu for self-defense in streets, but also as a spiritual and discipline exercise. And he insults Dusty here, things I think you are lacking. I don't do it for spiritual reasons. I do it as a physical exercise. We are mothers and fathers with families. We go to work and school. No, we go to school and work. We are not training 24/7 like these guys. He said like this. I think he wanted to say like these. If you love MMA, good for you. Exactly. But you can't judge all martial arts masters only because a couple of morons are liars or got their butts kicked by a guy who eats, breathes, and lives fighting. Exactly. It's not a fair comparison. And if you think the martial arts don't work, go to any dojo and challenge the master. But you do it. And he had that in caps. You do it. Don't hide behind a professional fighter to support your words. Learn respect before talking about traditional martial arts, dude. Boom! If I find a nuclear explosion, I'm going to put it right here. Exactly. That's why I said in another video, I was all on the Gracie bandwagon because I was like, I'm going to take Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then I just had to read about it. I was fascinated. Then I had to read about it. And then I had to start thinking. And then I'm like, you got somebody that trains for 8 hours a day going against a park and rec guy. Who you think's going to win? The guy that trains 8 hours a day. Now I'm going to say this, and you're going to say I'm crazy. I bet you that there is a professional fighter out there that I could beat up. I bet you there is. Probably the ones that's smaller than me, well past their prime, and is not in any kind of real fighting shape, not right before they're preparing for a match. I'm pretty sure they knock my head off. Because at the end of the day, when two people fight, it only proves that those two people fought and one person beat that other person at that time. Even people who I say can beat me, I say that because when we've sparred, they have consistently beat me, but they have not always beaten me. It usually be two for them, one for me. And I mean, my ego is not so big that I can't admit that. But that means that even on an off day, things could go wrong. That's what a lot of people are actually praying for with the Floyd and Conor McGregor fight, is that Conor McGregor could come through with that Hail Mary or something and catch Floyd off guard. Now, you can't say that. Depending on who you are, you're supposed to be on one side or the other when it comes to Floyd and Conor McGregor. It's the truth, like, odds are Floyd Mayweather's going to win, but then again, anything can happen. So, whatever. Don't get too caught up in the hype. But really, man, it's great that people like MMA, but stop trying to use MMA to just as an excuse to just slam traditional martial arts and slam all traditions. Because every martial art that exists today is technically a mixed martial art. Because every martial art that's taught today is a combination of the arts that come before it. Go look at the arts history. And also, nowadays, in 2017, MMA is now a tradition. It is now a traditional martial art because now you have defined skill sets that everybody knows that you need in order to function in that arena. You have standard styles that people like to pull from. They like to take Taekwondo's kicks, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's groundwork, and the Muay Thai punching and kicking. Even if they scrap Taekwondo altogether, at your very least, you're going to have Muay Thai and BJJ. So if you got to have Muay Thai and BJJ for it to be a real MMA gym, you got a tradition, you got a style right there. So, boom. Somebody just blew up the argument. Now, before I go, I'm going to say this too. Really, Dusty calls himself an atheist. And I think, whether he realizes it or not, he's probably really going after traditional martial arts because if he's an atheist, and he's a very staunch atheist, he's very anti-religion. Some people practice traditional martial arts with religious overtones. Like what I do is I will use parts from my religion into what I'm teaching sometimes, but it's not mandatory. It's not required to advance in rank. You say the student creed, my student creed from my school, one of my classes, is a passage from the Bible. So he probably sees that, and since he doesn't like religion anyway, if he sees any of the spiritual overtones or an activity that has spiritual overtones, he's going to love to see them get trampled by something he feels is secular. He probably thinks that MMA is secular because people are saying it's more scientific, because it's a combination of stuff. And really, I mean, you don't really think about religion when you think about MMA. You don't. With the exception of that one guy who's a pastor that uses MMA as part of his ministry. So, it's over. If you want to know why, back in the day, the MMA people, well, really was BJJ people, it's not because of a style. If you want to know why your favorite professional MMA person can beat up your rec center, a YMCA, or strip mall karateka, or judoka, or taekwondo, or whatever, it's because your MMA person is spending all their time fighting. They're preparing to fight for a living because they are a professional fighter. And in case you don't know, if an amateur MMA student fought a karate person, well, we'll just say traditional, fought a traditional martial artist who was a fighter, that amateur person will probably lose. The amateur MMA student will probably lose to a professional traditional martial artist, because that is what it means to be a professional. When you are a professional, you do it for a living. So, I think the damage has been done. Stop comparing amateurs to professionals. And one more thing. All the really good MMA people, the really good MMA fighters, they've all studied traditional martial arts at some point. So what does that tell you? And also, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has a tradition. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is also a tradition.
Where them kicks at? Where them hands? Where them holes? Where them throws? You know what I'm saying? Cecil Reed, Taekwondo. Cecil Reed, Taekwondo. Cecil Reed, Taekwondo. Cecil Reed, Taekwondo. Go to see CecilRyu.org, Cecilryu.org. Or Taekwondo, supplemented with cross training in Judo, Kyushu Jitsu, and Western boxing. It's for all ages and for the whole family. Peace.